Hello and welcome to episode 5 of the Perky pod, and this is my professional development portfolio. Saying I'm kind of facing the mirror and thinking about overcoming challenges and where I've been able to build confidence. And it's going to be kind of critically reflective episode, and thinking about kind of some of the areas I have struggled with, particularly in the balancing things, and how I've overcome them and what I've grown and learned through that process. So recent challenge that has really tested me, I think, recently, and that I found kind of difficult, has been balancing everything that's going on. Balancing sustainably the various commitments I've got, be that balancing Ben Makes my business, doing university work, doing this podcast, generally the podcast, but then also doing the university project podcast for this professional development portfolio, managing, running, setting up kind of church youth group, and the list goes on. I found it difficult balancing these things, and that's really tested me. And I found that has been quite challenging at times, knowing what to put my time into, because when I've written down a list of everything that I've got to be doing, I just don't have enough time in a day to do everything I want to do, which is a blessing in many ways, because all the things I want to do, I'm incredibly blessed to have the opportunities. So I think actually having that challenge highlighted the blessings I've got and the great opportunities I've got to dig into, but has also highlighted that I can't do everything I want to be doing, and I've got to prioritise and be tactical about where I'm putting my time into the right things. And I think one of the issues or reasons I find it kind of tough is I like to do things to high quality and quite perfect standard within my business, within my other areas. I want to be delivering a high quality piece of work or whatever, and I find it quite hard with all the various things I've got to be doing and offering. I've definitely found it a challenge to offer all of them at quality I'd like to. So I think I've accepted that there are some areas I'm not going to be able to fully commit to and fully give the time it needs, which is difficult, as kind of my perfectionist side of me thinks I'm not going to be offering as good a product or as good a thing, for people. I'm not saying I'm going to kind of skint on the products I'm making for Ben Makes and things, but just like the work I'm producing within my uni work and other things, I think could take a detriment if I was to try and do everything I'm wanting to be doing. So I've definitely found that the time pressures has been a struggle. But the way I've kind of responded to this time pressure and things has been essentially laying out everything I'm needing to be doing and thinking about what the challenge I've got is, and the challenge is being too busy and kind of trying to balance everything and doing that to a sustainable level. As I found I can do a week of lots of work, but that's not sustainable. At the end of the week I'm knackered and I only need a few days to recover really unproductive work, telling myself I'm going to work, sitting on my laptop procrastinating on whatever for way too long. So something I've realised is I need to be sustainable, and in the way I'm balancing my work, because that is so key for long-term growth and long-term potential with this. So the ways I've kind of pushed through on that is highlighting what areas of the things I'm trying to balance are necessary and what they are not, and realising that actually for some areas, so within Ben Makes in business, it's actually at the moment not as important for me to be doing my digital marketing. So I've actually really taken a step back on doing social media marketing. I've not really done any short form videos recently. That has been a change, as I've been trying to be kind of keeping up on that and telling myself, you've got to be keeping up on that. But actually through realising I've not got time for everything, making an active decision to not do some of those things in Ben Makes and marketing has actually made a helpful impact, realising I don't have that pressure on myself to think, I should be doing that and I'm not doing it, but actually accepting, right, I don't have time for everything. And if I was to do digital marketing, I'd probably get more orders than I have time for, which would then be going into the issue of balancing everything even more, so making it even more tough. And another thing that has helped me on that is kind of growing in my discipline, kind of trying to be more disciplined in my time management. And that's still something I very much do struggle with, when there's so many to-dos and so many things that are kind of due sooner than the bigger goals. So for example, this project, this professional development portfolio, as a uni assignment, is due in mid-December. But I've then got, each week, I've got little things like I've got to plan something for the youth group I'm starting up now at church, or I've got to reply to friends on WhatsApp or reply to business messages. Those are more urgent, and they're things I like to do as well and I want to keep up with. But it then means I can always have these micro deadlines that are important things and are due sooner than a bigger deadline, but it can always push the bigger deadline back. So I think what I've been learning is to be disciplined with doing chunks of the work throughout the big work, even though there's smaller micro deadlines that are more urgent, but actually putting time into these things that are still really important to do, but balancing that in the right way. And I've still very much struggled with that. It's been an up and down journey, and I think talking with other friends and how, best to balance that. Thinking about the kind of 80-20 rule, putting, 20% of the time into going 80% of the results, or having, doing 80% of the task to 80% level, but not to 100% level, because the extra 20% takes another 80% of time. It's a Tim Ferriss thing. Look into it. I'd really recommend it. But that's definitely something that has helped me think about how I can prioritise my time, and being kind of trying to grow in that discipline. And it's something I constantly struggle with. At the start of this year, I set out discipline as the one thing I'm going to nail this year, and I've not nailed it at all, to be honest. I've grown in it, but I've not nailed it. And I've grown to learn that actually it's not really possible to nail it. It's something that is a slow journey. And I think that's something I'm, understanding slowly. And being efficient in kind of my self-management and balancing things has definitely been an up and down challenge, and has actually been a perfect example of the self-management theory in real life. And it's something I've kind of been newly looking into, and it's definitely helped me understand some of the habits that I've been doing that have actually been not really helpful and negatively impacting where I'm trying to get to and how I'm trying to balance everything. And it's really helped me kind of notice the habits and patterns in myself, where I kind of manage well, and other areas where I really don't manage as well, areas I really want to improve. And the self-management theory talks about regulating kind of your behaviour internally. And at that moment, kind of when I found that out, it really helped me realise that there's a lot of areas I'm not really regulating my time well, and even emotions at times, in the way I'm kind of approaching situations or giving myself time for things, and realising actually time blocking can be effective. It actually can, lead to me trying to do lots more work than I think in a short time, then realising I can't do that, and then kicking myself because I'm not actually keeping up with what I'm trying to do, which is definitely something I've been learning. And this kind of self-management theory has helped highlight that I can't do everything, and actually time blocking for me is maybe less effective, I would say. And kind of building confidence as well, I think, is really important, with being confident in what I can do and what I can't do, and what is achievable. And it isn't kind of pretending I've got everything together and pretending I can do everything, but it's actually, for me, being aware of the habits I've got, and aware of the habits I'm trying to grow in and habits I'm trying to go away from. And that's been a big part of my growth, and a big part of actually the self-management theory, helping me kind of understand myself more and building up more confidence in myself and what I can do efficiently, and how I can actually use my time most effectively, and how I can actually manage myself and balance, so it's a sustainable long-term thing rather than just a big stint. And the self-management theory is kind of huge on reflection. It's really key about kind of looking back at what has worked in the past, what didn't, and then has helped kind of thinking about how I can do things differently next time, and how I can really build off things to help me grow. And I think that's really helps me kind of critically reflect on what's worked well, what hasn't worked well, what I should be doing to improve. And I think examples of that for me have been times when I've set myself challenges and set myself goals to do a certain amount of stuff in a certain day, or mini deadlines, and sometimes that works brilliantly, but other times I found when I fail on that, I can then kick myself and be a bit of a negative cycle of thinking, I've not done well on that, and it doesn't kind of bring me up as much. But actually, when I set really realistic, smart goals, being specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and time related, it has been really, really helpful. And I found using kind of the challenge of this, the self kind of management, kind of theory, and integrating that into the way I'm managing my time and the way I'm being critical about how I'm using my time, I found that's been really important in kind of helping me actually set realistic goals and set things that are going to genuinely help me to balance the time, which is one of the big issues I've been struggling with. Some of the main skills and important areas I've been learning and growing through this is the fact that I actually can't do everything I want to do. And actually prioritising and balancing the work I'm doing is so important, and accepting that I can't say yes to everything. I'm going to have to say no to some things, and by saying yes to some things, I'm naturally saying no to other things and saying no to other opportunities. Also, having people I've been able to talk to about some of these issues and balancing things that have gone through similar problems or are juggling the same issues has been really important, as I've been able to kind of open up about where I've been struggling with, and vice versa, and actually work through how we can most effectively grow in these areas and grow and balance in them. And I found that super important, having a few great friends and people in the community that I can really talk to, and that's really helped me be able to kind of be self-reflective, and also kind of helping both of us grow through that. So I've really found that valuable, being able to talk about some of these issues I've found the balancing, and kind of getting top tips and real life experience from friends that are struggling with various issues similar to me. And I found that's been really important, being kind of vulnerable and honest about areas I'm struggling with and areas that I'm kind of trying to overcome and growing kind of through being kind of a bit more resilient and being open to change and open to working in different ways. And I think also found it quite useful is actually asking for genuine feedback from friends and saying, I want you to challenge me. And that's been really helpful, as I've definitely had useful challenges from friends, which can hurt at times or be hard. But actually when people are really saying, hey, I think you can grow more in this, that's been really, really valuable for me. And kind of having that growth mindset to say, yes, I do want to grow in this. And actually I want to help kind of change some of the areas that I'm struggling with, or areas that I think I could be growing more in, which has been, really an important area. I think being critical and thinking, I can't do this yet, but I will be able to. And that's actually the growth mindset, something that's been really instilled through kind of school and things, which at first I thought was just a lot of rubbish, and all the teachers were going on about it. But now I've actually really understood the importance of a growth mindset and thinking, yes, I can't do this yet, but actually I'm going to be growing into a position where I can do that. And that's been so important, actually adopting that growth mindset, which has been kind of instilled in me from a young age at kind of school. But actually it's so important to think, I can, in time, I'm going to be able to grow to be in a position where I can do that better, even if I'm not great at this now. And being critical and having friends support you and being vulnerable in that has been so valuable. And kind of having my foundation in the Christian faith as well has been really vital for that. And because Christianity has so much openness and so many open conversations, and be able to kind of share the faith with friends and grow in that, grow in discipline and kind of read my Bible and prayer, but also discipline in doing the work I'm trying to do and grow and balance the various things has been really important, really helpful for me as well. Also, I've learned about when I'm kind of being really critical on myself and when I'm kind of applying self-management theory, really digging into what I'm doing and why I'm doing that, and kind of give myself genuinely useful feedback. That's really helped me actually grow and use the things I've learned to actually go forwards, rather than kind of ignoring what I've learned from the mistakes I've made, and actually being critical about those mistakes I've made. For example, when I've maybe procrastinated more than I should have on my phone, realizing that and then addressing the issue by putting blockers on my phone to stop me wasting time on social media, for example. Things like that have really helped me in growing in that and growing in actually being disciplined and growing in my balancing. But I found when I don't critically evaluate the reasons why I'm mucking up on things, I then often get stuck in that cycle again and kind of keep on maybe messing up on my phone, wasting time on it, for example. So I find being really critical about the errors I'm making and how I can grow from them has been really helpful. And kind of setting myself for boundaries as well has been quite important. And something else I've also been learning is about being kind of assertive and actually saying, no, I can't do this. As I found that one of my, highlight and weakness, I find, is saying yes to things. And actually something I've been growing in is realizing that saying no is super important, and actually realizing when I've not got time for things to say, I'm sorry, I'm actually just not going to be able to do that. I can't help you on this. I can't give time for that. And I know it's hard because there's a lot of things I want to do, and as I was saying, there's so many things I want to do, but actually it's pretty impossible to do everything. So that's something I've been learning, being assertive to actually say, no, I can't do this, but then saying yes to the right things and the right opportunities. So some of the key skills I've learned through this and through balancing things is the fact that actually I can't do everything, and I'm going to have to kind of prioritise some things, and by saying yes to some things, I'm naturally saying no to other areas. But that is, the way of opportunities. That some opportunities mean you have to forego others, and sometimes it's a difficult decision to say no to various opportunities that come up. But that then means I'm able to focus on other areas more in my life, which I think is really valuable. And that's definitely a challenge, and for me, but it's definitely somewhere I've been really able to grow and develop in, and growing my growth mindset as well has been really important. For me, kind of realising, okay, I'm not perfect to this yet, but I really want to grow into a space where I can really understand that more and really grow in that. And also for me, understanding that I'm not going to be able to do everything to 100% quality, but if I just give it as much as I can with the time I've got, that's great. And realising things aren't going to be perfect, and striving for perfection is great in some ways, but actually it can mean it stunts growth and stunts actually me from really making the most of every opportunity if I'm trying to do everything perfect. So that's where the 80-20 rule I found has actually been really helpful in kind of my self-development, actually growing my own discipline and balancing things sustainably. And thinking about kind of one action I'm going to be kind of taking away to really build my confidence, resilience, and kind of overcoming challenges, I think, is using SMART goals. that's really important, and actually prioritizing things that really need to be done soon and also the ones that need to be done later, but having them integrated within kind of my to-dos for the week, for example. So rather than just thinking about the really urgent ones, having a holistic view of the various things I need to do and integrating time to do the longer term goals that can help me get to the place I want to get to in long term, but then also short term goals that are really more time sensitive, and implementing them all to be more sustainable, I think is really important. Personally, I've found being more disciplined and time management has been so important. It's not easy, but it's a challenge, and that's where you grow the most. So I'd very much encourage anyone listening to dig into that and grow in that challenge and be really open to grow and open to be challenged and invite others into that and challenge each other. There we go. Thanks for listening. God bless, and see you on the next one.